Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melo and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And today I want to answer one of the most common questions that I get throughout comments in this channel, even DMs, even emails, which is, can you make a full-time living from print on demand? For those of you who don't know, I've been living in Bansko, Bulgaria for a year now. Actually, exactly a year and a few days. And I've had so many questions from people, why do I live here? And I remember during the ski season, because this is a ski resort, so many people were like, why are you living in a ski resort if you don't ski? And the reason why I came here is because this is a very popular digital nomad destination. And for those who don't know the term digital nomad, it's basically someone who nomads, travels from place to place while having their work digitally. So some people are employed, they work remotely, they can work from home, so they can work from anywhere else, but they do have to obey by their office hours. Some people are freelancers who do that. And I myself sort of been a digital nomad, I think, since 2016 after opening my business in 2015. And to be honest, unlike most nomads who started their nomadic journey because they wanted to travel the world and they wanted to explore, I was fired for the first time in my life in 2015 because I was not a nice employee. Apparently, PTSD came out. I was diagnosed. I opened my own business because, you know, I have to eat, pay medical bills, pay rent. And I just opened a business with the things that I knew how to do from then, which was building websites, graphic design, and mostly content and SEO. And I actually started traveling simply because going to a different country, even with the cost of living in an Airbnb and paying for the flight, was still cheaper for me than living in Israel. So I actually started this journey to save money. And I've been nomading for the past few years. Obviously, you know, with the situation, the health situation that was here before, I had some stops in Israel for a year, twice. But now I've been a full year in Bansko, Bulgaria, mostly because this was a very known digital nomad destination. And it was also really easy for me as an outsider to just come and rent an apartment here. There are monthly apartments that you can rent. They're super cheap. And for me, wanting to focus more on print on demand and on YouTube, I knew that this would be a good solution for me because the cost of living in Bulgaria is really cheap, especially in Bansko, even as a tourist, as well as I knew the fact that with getting my Portuguese citizenship, I will be able to make residency here. So this was a long-term thing for me from the get-go. And when I came here, I found myself surrounded by so many people who do anything online. And I do remember meeting so many people who are web developers, who are graphic designers. None of the graphic designers that I met was actually doing print on demand. They were all working for other companies or for client work. I'm pretty sure one of them that was illustrating for someone else, I'm pretty sure they were selling this to someone who does print on demand. And I do remember the first time someone in this complex, when I asked, what do you do? He was like, selling print on demand on Etsy. And we actually haven't discussed that as much. I do try to respect other people's privacy because I do know that some people are very private with their business. And this sort of opened my eyes to several things because I started seeing some people who have a job, but also have this side thing. And more I started seeing people who do print on demand. So about a few weeks ago, I started messaging them. I think it was even not a few weeks ago, even before that, I was talking to one of them and I sat down with one of these people and I asked them a series of questions and I really wanted to make a video from it, but that person didn't want to be on camera. And I thought to myself, you know, this is pretty much pointless content. But then I reached out to two other people that I know who do this and asked them the same questions. And I thought to bring their answers to you. Hopefully that will be enough. And all of them are actually pretty realistic. And I do have to say that all of them have two things in common, other than the fact that they didn't want to be on YouTube. The first thing is they've all been working on print on demand for an average of 6 hours a day. Whether it was in the beginning or now, all of them took it as a business at some point and made it their full-time, not full-time income, but full-time work, or almost full-time. And none of them infringe on any copyrights. So that was kind of important to me. They did ask to say anonymous. I am using their first names, but I won't be using their last names or showing anything from their stores. So if you came here to see a store, how do they design the store, what exactly their art looks like so you can copy it, you can exit this video right now. And if you came here to see the video and maybe get inspired from what other people are doing, I have like sort of a summary of all my conversations with them. So I am looking down a little bit. Sorry about that. But I do think that there is a lot to be learned from what these people are doing. And as I was taking the notes from the various places I had them on to put them just on this notebook for this video, I actually thought about a little experiment that I want to do myself with print on demand, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. So the first thing that we need to understand when we're talking about this is the definition of full-time living. Because when someone says, do you make a full-time living from print on demand, what does that mean? Let's say you're doing print on demand and you're making 400 euros a month. Is that a full-time living for you? I mean, my best friend lives in LA. She pretty much can't do anything with 400 euros a month. In so many countries, to be paid 400 euros a month would be shameful. And most of the countries that I've been in the Western world, 400 euros is the minimum wage per week. But here in Bulgaria, minimum wage is 350 euros a month for a full-time job. So if someone that I know here, like a local, starts making 400 euros a month from doing print on demand, they will be super happy because they managed to take art and not work for anyone else and make more than minimum wage. So it really is about the definition of what is minimum wage or what is full-time living for you. I took these 3 people and I basically asked them the same 5 questions. 1, what do you sell and where? 2, when did you get started? 3, how long did it take it to make money? How much work were you putting into this business? 4, marketing. It's not phrased as a question, but it was a question. And 5, knowing everything you know now and looking back, what would you have done differently? So let's get started with my first person that I met, which is Jenny. So Jenny sells on Etsy and Zazzle, and she sells print on demand, mostly for weddings and parties. So that's everything to do with personalized invites, customizable invites, things for like, will you be my bridesmaid kind of gifts, or even bridesmaids crew, maid of honor, bride, everything to do with the wedding and party niche. Second question, when did you get started? Well, Jenny started Etsy 4 years ago and only started Zazzle last year. So when I was looking into this, at first I was like, oh my God, 4 years on Etsy. She must have made so much money, right? 4 years on Etsy. Wrong. Because when we went to question number 3 of how long did it take to make you money and how much do you make, she said that for pretty much 3 years, Etsy was not making anything. And that's totally her fault. I mean, she was inconsistent. She was just, oh, I'll upload this. I'll upload this. Let's sell printables. Let's sell planners. No, you know what? There are wall calendars because it's a new year. Let's make stuff for Christmas. She kept on changing what she's selling on her Etsy store, changing the design, changing the idea, changing the niche audience, changing the product, not even just changing the product, changing from print on demand to printables and vice versa so many times. And then one of her friends got married using so many things for her wedding from Zazzle. And that's when Jenny went into Zazzle and saw the full potential of the platform by actually being able to sell print on demand that is customizable, but she doesn't have to customize it at all. I mean, if you're selling print on demand on Etsy and it's customizable, which means someone will order from you, let's say the fulfillment company is Printful. So you will basically be making the order. The buyer will make the order, which will go into draft and not push into production on Printful. Then you will change the file type based on customizations of the client and then push it to print. So on Zazzle, people can actually change it on the platform. Like the end buyer has full control over it. So it's kind of awesome. So Jenny was on Zazzle for about a month until she made her first sale. And she decided that whatever she was doing on Zazzle should be exactly what she's doing on Etsy, as much as you can with several different products, and really focused in on Etsy for a full wedding shop and on Zazzle for wedding shop as well as party shop. 3 months after doing that, Jenny quit her job. Weird, huh? I mean, you spent 3 years basically putting a lot of work into it, selling nothing, and then 1 month to get a first sale, and 3 months after that, you quit your job. Sounds kind of too good to be true, right? And there is actually a reason or a way she was able to do this. So while she was doing those first 3 years on Etsy, she had a full-time job. She was doing this mostly on the weekends, maybe half an hour a day from home during the week. And then when she started Zazzle, again, she was doing this. And once she saw that first sale, she told me, I was working every minute of the day that I had to myself. Every single minute that I was able to work, I was working. That means that once she finishes her actual job, she would work 3-4 hours a day on a work week, and the entire weekend was spent on that, even if it means 12 or 16 hours on Saturday and on Sunday. That's pretty intensive, especially when you have your own job. But after 3 months of working this intensively, she quit her job. And the reason why she was able to do that is not because she was making millions of dollars, but because those 3 months that she was working like crazy, she was also not spending almost nothing. So she was making a little bit of money from Zazzle and from Etsy, but she was not spending anything on anything other than the food you need to eat and rent you need to pay. She wasn't spending anything. She was pretty much working 24/7, other than sleeping, showering, and eating. I'm pretty sure she ate in front of the computer while working. We all do that sometimes, don't we? After these 3 months, I can't even imagine how exhausted she was, even though I can, because when I started my business back in 2015, I remember working, I made a joke with my friend. I was like, I had a 14-day work week because I was pretty much working 8 hours, going to sleep for a little bit, and waking up and working another 8 hours every single day for several months, other than medical treatments, because I really needed this to work. So I get where Jenny's coming from. And the thing is that what allowed her to do this is once this started making a little bit of money, plus the money she had saved from not spending on anything, she literally took herself to a cheaper country and was able to spend all of her time without the job in a different country that it costs less to live in. So in that case, from coming from working 8 hours a day in a job, plus 3-4 hours a day, plus all your weekend, to now working 6 hours a day when she started traveling and being on cheaper places. And I do know that a lot of people find traveling to be extremely expensive, but I don't know where you guys live. We rent an apartment in an apart hotel, like apartments, and there are also short-term stays. It cost us 270 euros per month for both of us, for a big apartment. You can find studio apartments in Bansko for 150 euros. And when I was living in Bangkok, Thailand, I found insane apartments in like high society buildings with a private pool on the 20th floor, stuff like that, for 13,000 baht. 13,000 baht back then was 1,300 shekels, which is less than 400 euros a month to live like a king. I had friends living next to me in Bangkok, not in my building, but in a smaller building, renting a normal studio apartment in a building without a pool, just a small little gym, paying 4,000 baht per month. 4,000 baht per month is 100 euros. So if you can get to a place and minimize your cost of living to enable you to work full-time just on this, that's an amazing thing. Obviously, I'm not telling any of you, hey, for those of you with families, just, abandon everybody and go to a different country to focus on your print on demand. I was just thinking that this was a different point of view. Right now, a few months after that, because she was able to work every day just on that, and of course, she worked every day before that, but now she's working every day on that, but not working as intense anymore, and also building up on the marketing efforts that she started from the start. She's making around $3,000 to $4,000. And then I told her, okay, how do you market that? So for marketing, she pretty much stated what I kept on thinking to myself, which was blogging and Pinterest. So she has 2 different websites, blogs, that are not associated with her. I mean, it's not like I would have a shop called Me Arroyo and then have a website called Me Arroyo and blog about it, but she has two different blogs. One of them is for everybody that wants to get married, like wedding stuff. She doesn't just put things that she's selling, but also other stuff like famous wedding dresses, the new catalog from, I don't know, Versace or whoever is making wedding dresses these days. But she also promotes other people, other content that people are searching for in the wedding niche while promoting her own stuff, as well as another blog that is just dedicated for how to do parties for kids, like birthday parties for kids, the things that you need to do. And those two blogs are holding the marketing for an Etsy shop about wedding and two Zazzle shops, one for weddings and one for birthday parties for kids. She's also using Pinterest. And unlike what a lot of people do when they start Pinterest and they just pin from the platform, she's only pinning from herself, like her websites and blogs. She never pins directly from Etsy or directly from Zazzle. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but as a Zazzle seller, you can also sign up to become a Zazzle affiliate, which means that everything you share, if someone buys something from your referral, you make 15% commission, which sometimes might even be bigger than the commission for the product itself. And she told me that a lot of the money she's making, like she sees income coming from Zazzle, regardless of sales from her shop, because she does believe that a lot of people who come into her website or her blog and then go to her shop end up just buying something from someone else on Zazzle, but she still gets commission. So this is, by the way, one of the reasons why I stuck with Society6 for so many years, because they also do have that option for their affiliates. And this is definitely something that I'm looking forward more to explore on my next testing month, which I'll keep you guys again updated at the end of the video. And as for the fifth question, which is what would you have done differently? She said, I would have worked on Zazzle sooner because it taught me a lot. So it's not that she discovered Zazzle and then when, Etsy, bye-bye. But the minute that she discovered Zazzle and found a way to do stuff, she was looking for a way to do the same thing on Etsy, and that's what made her successful. So Jenny, if you're watching this, thank you. Next up, we have Arturo, and I remind you, we have three. So Arturo is selling on Society6 and on WordPress using Printful and Guten. He says he's selling mostly patterns. I actually saw some of his stuff, very basic, geometric. I saw a lot of plaid stuff, but the colors are actually combined quite well. Even looking to what he does, I can clearly see collections. Like if I look at several of his items, I can imagine, okay, so these 5 items, he did them on the same day. It has a vibe to it. So everything looks sort of like it belongs together and it's divided into collections. And what he's selling through Society6, he says, I just put everything on all the items that I can enable it on. He didn't really try to make everything in all sizes. He just takes a 10,000 by 10,000 pixels and puts it on whatever takes. And on WordPress, he sells using Printful, phone cases, and bags, like tote bags, that are matching. That's important. And he also sells compact mirrors, which are Guten products. And I don't know if you guys know that product, but it's actually kind of cool. I'm thinking I should order one myself to check it out. I do need to see what happens with my orders because the post office here was hacked in Bulgaria. It's actually been down for a few weeks. I can still get packages if they're delivered to me with FedEx, DHL, or Speedy. So I will definitely check out ordering the compact mirror from Guten because I saw them with Arturo and they were pretty cool. Okay, so how long has he been doing this? Society6, 5 years. He started Society6, but it changed a lot. He said every time he went into the platform, which was every few months, he saw some changes to the platform. As I've been to Society6 also, I think 5 years now as well, I can pretty much remember all the changes that he was talking about. And he wasn't actually making much money from this. And, he ordered some of his own stuff, decorated his apartment. And he told me that one day a friend of his came over and she really liked one of the patterns that he had on a pillow. And she had a compact mirror that she bought. And she said, I wish this could have been on that because she had something a bit similar, but she liked his colors more. So he literally went online and typed in print on demand compact mirrors and found Guten. So 2 years ago, he opened his WordPress store with Guten selling compact mirrors with geometric prints and later on added Printful with tote bags and phone cases. And the thing is that they all match. And because you're selling on your own platform, you have a way of showing other products to people. Like you can, let's say someone takes a phone case into the shopping cart, you can literally have appearing under that a matching mirror, a matching bag. And that's what he did. He banked on the whole matching concept with items that a lot of women mostly would like to match. Because you know what? I kind of like that my wallet, the one I ordered from Redbubble, matches my tote bag. So I do see a connection between matching a phone case or a compact mirror to a bag. And I do also remember seeing this connection when I was selling on Redbubble, as I was selling a lot of sets of phone case and tote bag, or phone case and that zipped pouch, that were sold a lot of times together, I'm guessing to the same people, because it was a sale at the exact same time. Because it is kind of a, a thing. It matches. And honestly, like, isn't that like the simplest logic in the world? So how long did it take Arturo to make money from this? How much was he working? So he started, and we're talking here about the Guten Printful thing on his own WordPress. He started on May 2020. So that was like 2 months after the health crisis in the world. And he said that pretty much it wasn't really doing anything until October and November of 2020. His words, made a killing for sales for Christmas. So October and November were amazing months for him, and he sold a lot of these sets. He also told me that he combined some of his geometric patterns with elements of Christmas. So whether it was a geometric pattern that had like a mistletoe on it, or a mistletoe combined within the pattern itself, like a pattern of mistletoes, he made a killing on Christmas 2020. He was super happy, living the dream, and then all sales went down because, December, January, everything went down. And then May 2021, which is 1 year after opening his store, he started seeing some good profit. And right now he's making around $2,000 a month from his WordPress store. He still kept his job, and his job is a WordPress developer. He literally builds WordPress websites for a living, but he was doing it sort of as a freelancer. So his job, basically he's working for a company. That company raises clients, and then he does the work for them, for those end clients of that company. So at the beginning, he told me that he was working pretty much all weekend. So he was working 8 and even 10 hours a day on work days for that company as a freelancer. So you basically are their employee, but you get paid as a freelancer, while spending the entire weekends working on print on demand. And now he cut down his work hours that he's offering as a freelancer to that company to 6 hours a day. He does 2-3 more hours for print on demand per day, and he takes weekends off. I also asked him how much the Society 6 makes after 5 years. He said, well, sometimes a few dollars a month, not more than that. I asked him why he's keeping that store. He said, for sentimental value. I can actually really relate to that. I've had some websites that I stopped updating, don't make me money, but I still keep them for sentimental value. And coming up to how he does marketing, he doesn't do any marketing for Society 6. He doesn't really try, which could explain why he doesn't have any sales. He fully knows it. It's not like a bad comment from me. But for his WordPress store, he markets mostly with Instagram. He says that the new addition for having the link in story was a real game changer. He loves making reels. He also ordered several of his products to actually make reels, calling out friends, like asking friends to be the woman in the video, or to, to model this thing. He ordered a lot of his products and made a lot of reels for Instagram, as well as keep on updating the story with links all the time. He also does Pinterest, and of course the Pinterest is from obviously his own website, and he also has a small blog within that website about, for example, gifts for goths, or matching sets for people who like a certain topic, if that topic has a pattern. But mostly he said he pretty much updates it before holidays, like gifts for Christmas with a discount, and keeps on doing like a coupon code and stuff like that. There's a lot of coupon codes involved in Arturo's store. The best thing about it, I mean, that person spent so many years just doing Society 6, and then that 1 year on WordPress without almost getting anything. And then I asked him what he would have changed. All this time on Society 6, all this time working on your own WordPress, what would you have changed? And he said, nothing. Yep. nothing. Before we move on to the next person on my list, which is Avi with 2 other shops on Shopify, I would like to just say something. If you like this video and found this content useful, please hit the like button down below, because every time you do, it really does help my channel. And subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. Moving on to Avi. So Avi has 2 Shopify stores. In one of them, he sells custom pet illustrations on pillows from Printful, sticker packs, like sticker rolls from Sticker Mule, and mugs from Printful. On the other one, he sells his own art on canvases. And if you're asking what does he do for art, it's pet paintings. He just sells a painting of a pet regardless of someone's pet. Like, for example, a certain pet that he had, or even literally going to Pixabay and illustrating other people's photos, which is completely legal, by the way. And for his own art on the second store, he's using, again, Printful. I asked him how long he was doing, but Avi was the shortest answers ever. How long has he been doing this for? 7 months. This was actually asked in March, so it's already 9 months by now. He said that the first month, he actually put both items, like, he actually had one store. So one store for customized stuff as well as his own stuff. And then he decided to split them after 1 month. For the question about how much money does it make and how long he works on it, he said at the beginning, at the first month or so, he was working on this 1 or 2 hours a day. And then he made the switch after the first month. He tried to put more time into this, but he discovered that he can't do this while he is fully employed. He was also not employed in anything that could be done remotely, or anything that he could do from home, or even do his own art while doing this job. He had a very physical job that he needs to be always attentive, and not with his phone or with a computer or with an iPad. At the end of the day, he quit his job, flew to Thailand, which is another low-cost destination, and just focused there pretty much every day for a few months. And in the past few months, he's been making around $800 or $900 a month, working 4 work days a week. And to him, he says, this is completely enough. If this will stay exactly like this is now, he's good. And I think that it comes to the beginning of this to show you what is the definition of full-time living and quitting my job for each and every one of these people. When I asked him how does he market his shops, I was actually surprised, because with the other 2, it's a very traditional thing, you know, blog, Instagram, Pinterest. But Avi was actually pretty much doing everything using TikTok. So on TikTok, he was basically showing a photo being taken to an illustration, being taken into a product. He made a lot of reels, a lot of videos for that on TikTok, and it took off enough to bring traffic into his shops. And the thing is that I also think that a lot of people sometimes don't understand the value of TikTok, or don't understand what is a good measurement for social media, because with TikTok, there was nothing special. I mean, there was no video that went viral and got 2 million views. He barely has followers, but it does give him sales, because at the end of the day, if you have 100,000 people to like a TikTok video, or 10 people to watch it and 4 people to buy, I would take the 4 people who buy any day. And he said pretty much every video that he incorporates, every other video, like every 2 videos he put out, it's pretty much 1 or 2 customers. So that was good enough for him. And that TikTok account mostly promotes what he does as custom work. The way that he promotes the other shop that just sells his paintings for pets is actually very traditional for me. He has a blog about dogs and a blog about cats. And on these blogs, he does nothing to talk about print on demand. There is no products at all. There is just medical information or health information or stuff like that. He has information, for example, on how to find a dog trainer, when is a good time to start training your dog, information about what is poisonous to cats and they shouldn't eat, and stuff like that, while having links to his shop and his art on the sidebar, to both shops, by the way. So that is a pretty interesting way to do things. And he also has all of these blog posts with information with Pinterest pins for Pinterest. And when I asked Avi, would he have done anything different, knowing what he knows now, given, 7 months of a difference, he flat out said, I would have ordered more products, because he ordered some of his products back home to Israel. And then when he left to Thailand, he found that it would be more difficult for him to order things to Thailand because it was, he never knew exactly what his address would be, and he started traveling and he never knew exactly, if it's going to come in time or not. So he said definitely he would have ordered more products at the beginning, because he found that the videos that actually have segments with the product photos are selling better, as well as the actual listings on Shopify that has photos that he took are selling better. The second thing that he said that he would have done was raise prices. He said, I totally underestimated my work. I was stuck with people saying that, if you want to sell like a pillow, you make $3, $4 commission, forgetting the fact that he's actually doing custom work for people. As well as for canvases, he told me that pretty much right now for one of the smallest canvases, the 8x10, he would charge $60 or $70, because that's what his art is worth, and he doesn't mind selling less as long as he makes a lot of money per one sale. He doesn't want to make $2, $3 or $10 per sale. He wants to make more money. And first of all, thank you guys for bearing with me in this very boring video. I really hope that one of them would like to be in this video or to be interviewed officially and to show you guys what they were doing. But I guess a lot of people in the industry are kind of nervous about anyone else stealing their idea or stealing their designs exactly. I am listening to this Zazzle, not podcast, I mean, they have a podcast, but I'm watching it through YouTube. I'm listening to this mother-daughter pair that do Zazzle, and they start every single video with, whatever we're showing you from our store now, you cannot use it. It's illegal to use it. Please stop using it, because we will make sure to take it down. And I also do remember this as a comment from just when I started YouTubing. I was still on Redbubble, and my bestsellers was the Mahjong designs. And they were bestsellers because of several things. I talked about it when I talked about how I market my own products on Redbubble a long time ago. And I remember someone messaging me. I don't know if it was really dumb or brilliant, that nerve, that they went into my Redbubble store. They copied one by one all of my Mahjong designs, and after 2 months, they haven't sold them, so I must be lying. And I'm like, first of all, I'm selling it to, clients that I already know and met. Like I was working with someone who wanted to order dresses for some boutique shops in the States, as well as had promoting them, have been promoting them from my own blogs, as well as, Redbubble starts to promote it because you promote it. But the audacity to tell me I copied everything that you did. And I really understand why they didn't want to do it. I also know that some of them, in the back kind of thing, spoke about, one of them actually, his aunt or something, I don't remember quite, thought that print on demand is the same as multi-level marketing and stopped talking to him. I'm sorry for laughing. But a lot of people were not that supportive, and I think I kind of get it. I mean, I remember when I was talking about starting to be a nomad and going abroad, and I was at this free co-working in my city in Israel, and I was talking about this, and one of the women there just looked at me and she was like, how could you do that? That's irresponsible. And I looked at her and I'm like, what? She was like, you can't just up and leave like your family or your clients. And I'm like, I'm not supporting my family in any way. We're not that close. And I barely see them. And my clients are mostly from Australia. Like, if I'm be going to Romania, I'm in the same time zone. They really don't care. No, a person cannot just do that. This is irresponsible. And at the end of the day, you kind of get people sort of jealous that you have this freedom that they don't. And I remember even when I was working sort of like a different work hour thing, I would work in the evening if I wanted to go to the beach during the day. And I would have people telling me, you work all the time. I was literally at the beach the entire time you were in the office. You wanted to go to dinner and I've been working for 2 hours. And I think that a lot of people are against it, which is why I completely understand why these 3 people didn't want to be on this platform or on YouTube, especially the second one, who is still employed and doesn't want the employer to maybe see what they're doing. I really don't know, but I respect you guys and thank you guys for sharing with me this information. I would like to know what resonated with you guys the most. What do you think was the most valuable thing to learn from these conversations with these people? And I would also like to add that as I was taking these 3 notes that I did from the conversations with each and placing them together today on this piece of, like, on my notebook, I started thinking about an experiment that I want to do, which would be to sit down with myself, set out the actual times per day that I'll be doing this, like pretend I have a day job, you know, and try to do this month or 2 months project, taking all of their lessons and things that they've learned and doing this myself. So there will probably be a short video in the next few days of me issuing this challenge to myself. I'm going to issue the challenge. I'm going to explain exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say exactly where I'm going to do it. And I'm going to forget about my new shiny thing syndrome for everything online and just sit on my and do this 3 times a week on different platforms that I will choose. I will write down everything, and I'm committing to you guys that I'm going to do this. And if any of you would like to shadow this with their own style, with their own platform, with their own idea, we'll discuss that in the group. And if you're not in a Facebook group, you can join. There is a link down below in the description and a lot of other cool links down below in the description. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow right here on the channel with bed sheets. I don't know if I have to say more than that. Cheap. Bed sheets, print on demand. But with that being said, that was it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And as usual, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!